Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. I am really excited about this reading vlog, predominantly because I'm just gonna be vibing, but trying to read 3 books I am so excited to pick up. I'm trying to keep my reading momentum going. I've started the month relatively strong and I'm trying to increase the output, if you know what I mean. But without further ado, let's go ahead and chat about the books I hope to read for not the month of June, for the course of this vlog. This is not gonna be a month-long vlog. So here the books are, starting off with Witch King by Martha Wells. This is probably, mayhaps, my priority read for this vlog. This is a new fantasy release that I've been highly anticipating. I also believe it's a standalone. I also find to be rather intriguing. This book follows a really powerful fire demon who's been trapped at the beginning of this book. Someone's trying to use his power, so he sort of awakens from this slumber he's been in for a really long time. I'm curious about this. I've also started the sequel for A Psalm for the Wild Built. The name of it is escaping my brain, but I'm listening to it via audiobook. I'm currently rotating between 2 audiobooks right now, and it's so good. The narration just completely captures the cozy vibe, and I love how she does the voices of our 2 main characters, Dex and Moscap. It's a really fast audiobook. It's 2 hours and I've listened to a third of it already, so I'm gonna finish that up. And lastly, similarly, it's not this, but it's the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I have the ebook on my Kindle, which I plan to read. This book, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, ended on quite the cliffhanger. It's kind of a high fantasy, vampire-leaning fantasy romance, and I really want to see how the next book's going to unfold. I also just want to read something that's really easy and fast. So yeah, these are the books I hope to read. All fantasy, sci-fi, with very different vibes. This is classic high fantasy. We got cozy, we got angsty, romantasy. So having a little bit of everything for this vlog, and I am so looking forward to it. I'm actually gonna do a little bit of reading right now. Right now as we speak. I'm actually brewing a pot of coffee. I woke up so unbelievably sleepy. I really try not to have afternoon coffee, but I am too weak today. We're gonna have one. We're gonna start Witch King, which I am so looking forward to. I'm also maybe gonna start my new puzzle tonight. As I mentioned in my last vlog, I'm trying to get back into puzzling. I used to do so many earlier this year. I'm talking like it was a million years ago. But earlier this year, I've fallen off and I'm trying to get back on the bandwagon because I loved that hobby. And my brain is just not clicking. The synapses aren't firing. But we're gonna find it once again. So I picked out a different puzzle. We're also gonna give that a whirl. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. It's gonna be more of the same cozy, at-home vibes. You know how we do it around here. Matilda being the ultimate cinnamon roll. Do you wanna join me in the front room, Millie? Or do you wanna stay in here? Completely up to you, what you would prefer to do. Either way, just thought I'd let you know. Hi, work is over. Let's chop up some vegetables to make a stir fry together, shall we? And then I am cooking off the onions for a few minutes before I add in the rest of the veggies. And my stir fry is complete. I also made a little spicy mayo to put on top. So fast, so easy, super tasty. Hello, I am now having couch switch and reality TV time, but I did want to do a check-in post-dinner because I read 60 pages of Witch King. So good so far. It gripped me right away. It's doing that thing. Our main character doesn't know what the heck is going on, and we as a reader do not know what the heck is going on, but twofold, because we're trying to figure out the current situation as our main character is, but we also don't know anything about this world or how the magic works. So it's a lot of paying attention and slowly piecing things together, and I personally really enjoy that style. But to backtrack a bit, the Witch King basically follows a demon who was trapped in some type of water prison for an amount of time. And at the beginning of the book, he basically is waking up because a lower level magic user is like trying to take advantage of his magic and take control of him, but he's much more powerful than them and then wins. And then quickly he's like, what in the world's going on? How was I captured? Who did it? I need to find my friends and allies and like get everything sorted. I wasn't sure what the tone of this book was going to be, and I'm really happy to report it has great fantasy writing, but our main character, Kai, is also kind of hilarious, and it's definitely going to be a situation where we have this unlikely crew working together, like this very found family situation, with gray morality-ish, but they're definitely like very rootable. At least that's the impression I'm getting right away. I've already laughed quite a bit, but like the magic and the world too is really fascinating, and like trying to understand what's going on is also great. So that's my first impression. Very, very positive. I'm now gonna watch Real Housewives of New Jersey and probably make some ice cream, and then I will do more reading tonight. So that is the plan. Oh, yes. Ice cream time. Alrighty. It is time to get to reading. The first 60 pages of this read so quickly, so I'm excited to read more. Coffee time. Good morning, everyone. Let's go read more of The Witch King, which I have passed 100 pages on. Not bad. Hi, friends. Good morning. I thought we would get ready together as I planned to film a video this afternoon, this lunch hour, which I am very excited about because it's a book haul, and if there's one thing about me, it's I buy way too many books. Also chaotically, I'm just wearing my super gloop sunscreen. I'm currently in the middle of 5 books, which I do not know how I let this happen. I do not like reading this many books at once. And the thing is, it's not that I don't like one or something. I'm loving them all. They're all just incredibly different vibes. So depending on the day and my headspace, I like pick up one, start another, move on to the next one. They're all so good though. Most of them are fantasy except one, The Dance Tree, which is also excellent. It's a historical fiction story set in the 1600s. Following a lot of topics, but definitely centers a lot on like the female experience, particularly centering motherhood, pregnancy. It also touches on the witch craze of the time period. And what's so crazy about the book is like this book is set in a period of time 500 years ago, but so much of the anxiety and also the societal expectations and also how you're valued within society as it relates to pregnancy like persists, which makes the book so just it makes me want to scream while reading it. And then, you know, you read the news and you see things that are happening, like for example, North Carolina just passed a bill effective July 1st, making most abortions after 12 weeks illegal. Tennessee is trying to continue to pass stuff. We obviously already know what's happening in Texas, which also makes me want to scream. All of that to say is it's like you read a historical fiction book and you're like, but it ain't so historical now, is it? Obviously a lot has changed, but clearly there's themes that can persist through time. You look at the current news and it can feel a little overwhelming. I'm gonna link some things down below. And also a reminder to myself, I said this I think in the last video too, local politics, we gotta stay involved because so much stuff happens at the state level and it makes me really stressed. Yeah, okay, I guess I'm on my soapbox again, but I just can't help it. There's way too much happening right now. Don't even get me started about the EPA. But I am excited to read my books. I'm particularly, as I said, enjoying all of them. I just feel like they all are like offering something to me very emotionally speaking right now. I'm also reading the sequel to A Song for the Wild Built, and the audiobook is so flippin' good. The narration style, just like the whole vibe of it is both comforting, and just how the voice actor has like captured the spirit of the characters is like excellent. And obviously I owe y'all an update on Witch King, which I'm also really liking. Like everything is a home run. I'm just chaotic right now. Feels accurate because I personally just feel like a chaotic person. But yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna put this mascara on, then we're gonna be ready to film. As I said, I'll have some information and resources linked down below. But You know, it's crazy how a historical fiction book can make you think about current events in a scary way. Just finished filming and about to make lunch, which very convenient. Clay's and I's Tuvala order just arrived so we can quickly, meaning I've got some time back on lunch because these meals are really good. I just like pop them in my little oven over there. So I'll show you, I don't remember what I ordered. So pulling all this out, and then I'm gonna pick something to quickly make for lunch. All right, we're gonna make some pho-inspired chicken soup with udon and crunchy veggies. I'm gonna pop this in, I'm gonna film a TikTok, I think, and then I think by the time I'm done, this will be ready. All righty, Millie, while that cooks, I'm gonna go film some stuff. Lunch is done, and I'm gonna go watch a little bit of TV and then get back to work. A little fruit snack, and I'm gonna sit down, and I'm gonna sit down here and do a bit more reading. I actually owe y'all a reading update, so I'll do that first. So let's do a reading update because I'm actually gonna sit down and read more Witch King. I am really liking this book. I'm on page, what page am I on? 150, making some serious progress here. And this book is so good. So going into it, okay, this makes sense now in hindsight, but going into it, I wasn't expecting it to be so like endearing and have such a likable and interesting main character. And what it also has is a really fascinating plot that's highly political in a very intricate fantasy world. And it takes a lot of work by the reader in a way, because you really need to pay attention to like begin to piece things together. I'm reading this book really slowly, but the picture that is beginning to be painted is one that's so cool. This book is told both in the present and the past, so between those two timelines you're kind of able to fill in the blanks of like what's happening. But this book is set in a fantasy world where there's like humans but also like magical individuals. There was a very large conflict that occurred before the start of this book, what we get insight into through the past chapters, where basically there are these like godlike entities who have magical powers, and their powers are rooted in taking like the life force from humans. So it's like a very, very evil thing. And they're making alliances with a variety of people, and they're basically trying to take over the world. And they're jerks, in summary. Our main character in the past, kind of a part of, again, kind of an unlikely crew, worked together to try to overthrow these very powerful individuals and kind of set up a new world order. Our main character, again, is a demon who is immortal, but they're trapped in a mortal body due to something that occurred at the very beginning of the previous conflict, basically cutting off the connection between the underworld location and the mortal world. Demons historically basically have human hosts that are made in agreement between like different groups of humans. It's very, very interesting, culturally speaking. And that is what our main character did. But now he's been trapped on like the upper mortal world for a very long time since this conflict. Fast forward to present day, obviously this conflict has passed, but there are still individuals who utilize this very evil type of magic, which basically steals, again, the energy and the life force of living things. And again, our main character is waking up in, a tomb, and he doesn't know how he got there. So clearly something is kind of afoot once again, and the conspiracy is very large. We don't know who's at play. So politically speaking, this book is fascinating, but as I mentioned, it's also very endearing, which again, I guess sort of makes sense because Murderbot is a series I've also recently read by Martha Wells. That main character is really endearing and also has like a really complex and kind of dark plot line. So this combo is Martha Wells' strong suit, but Kai, our main character, is so funny, and I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I just love reading from his point of view. And there is, again, such this element of found family. And through the past and present chapters, you get to see how their relationship is like transformed through time. And where I'm at with the book, they're trying to find the other members of their band and also figure out what's going on. But because they don't know how they got in the situation that they found themselves in, it could speak possibly of betrayal too, which is a lot of dissonance for all of our characters to work through. I'm just really liking the setting, and kind of trying to piece this world together is such a fun puzzle and mystery. And for it to be like so complex, but also have such characters you'll love. Like there's even like this little girl character they just like randomly picked up because she was there when he woke up in the temple, and she was going to be used as a sacrifice. So he saved her, and now she's like a little puppy dog just like added to the group. Like it's just so fun, but dark and complex. and I just love the vibes. I wasn't really sure what to expect, and it's definitely meeting those expectations. So I'm gonna read more now. I'm gonna try to get to the halfway point. I have a friend actually coming over for dinner a little bit later. I'm making a pasta dish, and we're all gonna enjoy it together and do some catching up. So I do have to get cooking. But first, I'm gonna get some reading done. This was prettier before I took a bite, but dinner is served. Hello, friends. I am in bed already, it feels like. Tonight was so nice. I completely forgot to vlog hanging out with my friend, Lucy, who came over. I made that pea pasta that I said I found on TikTok. It was so good. I filmed the clip at the end. I do have a TikTok of me making it, so if you really want to see it, I'll have that link down below. But it turned out pretty good. It was really fast, really easy. I'll also just link the recipe. I highly recommend. It's like a great summer pasta. It comes together, honestly, in 10 minutes, so it's definitely a win in that regard. But I'm going to sit down now, do more reading, try to knock one of the 5 books I'm currently reading, it feels like, off my list. And luckily Witch King is really, really good so far. I'm really liking it. It's definitely a style of fantasy that I like, especially because I just love I love this type of main character. They're just so likable and unpredictable, and this is the best combination. So anyway, I'm gonna get to reading. I've already done my skincare and all of that, so I'm all ready to just relax in bed, which is always nice. Hello, friends. Good late morning, if we're being honest. I wanted to check in because obviously I'm up. I'm also dressed for the day. There's Matilda, and I wanted to do a reading update before I get back to work. As look at this, I have only about 100 pages left of Witch King by Martha Wells. I'm really liking this book. I feel like this dual timeline, combining the past and the present and kind of watching these timelines not necessarily overlap, but oftentimes in the present we'll go to a place and we'll then jump to the past in the same place, and we'll see events unfold that kind of impact our characters' feelings in the present, if you know what I mean. So I feel like this jumping back and forth is a really cool way to build the world and the plot from 2 different directions. And it's one that I'm finding to be very creative, and one I'm really liking. It's like we get to see our characters with hindsight interpret things, but then also in that situation as it also occurs, which I just feel like provides a well-rounded story and creates a lot of character development and plot development like more quickly. I'm not sure. This might be a standalone, and I feel like the amount of stuff that she has packed in here normally would bother me. Like, I just don't know if it would have been possible, but Martha Wells, I think, is doing a really good job like fleshing everything out. I also felt almost immediately connected to the characters and bought into their relationship in a way that I also feel like is very hard to pull off. So kudos to that. I'm just really intrigued by this book. A lot of it too is just rooted in this central mystery of what is going on. So I feel like this feeling of confusion then feels very natural because our characters are also confused and trying to piece things together, and the slow reveals of like understanding both the world and the plot make the book also a very satisfying read to go through, which I am happy with. Definitely on track to finish this book. I am going to pivot a bit and read a bit of the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night today because I'm craving a little romantasy moment. I have that downloaded on my Kindle. There is Clay. He is about to head out on a lap. That's my life. There he goes. But anyway, I wanted to check in. I don't know how he's going on a lap. Like, not to sidebar, the heat index today is 115 outside with 90% humidity, which is why the heat index is 115. I think the real temperature is like 103 today, and it's like, you know, whatever. Gotta go get my steps in. Nothing stops this man from getting his steps. And I mean, good for him. Good for him. I personally will not be venturing outside until the sun is down in true vampire fashion. But anyway, that's my reading update. I'm gonna go get some work done. I think I'm gonna make lunch here soon and pivot to a new book, which I'm so excited for. So I'll keep y'all updated, but that is my reading update. Good morning. Another lunch hour saved by Tuala. Today we're having chashu inspired steak and noodles with soy sesame dressing, scallions, and crunchy veggies. So this sounds good. More noodles. Clearly I love noodles. You pick out your recipes and I'm like, All noodles, please. Thank you. And it's cooking away. I'm gonna go watch some Real Housewives. Aren't we, Millie? A little lunchtime treat. Real Housewives of Orange County. Yep. And lunch is served. Sunshine girly doing her thing. My kettle is going off, if that's what you hear. I'm about to make some tea, but I had some bananas and a wild hair. So guess who has muffins in the oven? Does anyone remember early COVID era me? I feel like I've made chocolate chip banana muffins like every other day. Well, to be fair, they are delicious, but I'm making some now. I'm gonna make some tea, and then I'm gonna sit down, start reading the sequel to A Serpent on the Wings of Night. I've wrapped up work, so we're gonna have a little cozy treat and tea evening moment together, which honestly sounds delightful if you ask me. So that's the plan. And then I think Clay and I are gonna start a video game together tonight and watch some TV. Should be a really nice night. Yum. Alrighty guys, my little tasty banana bread muffin has been consumed. I had some tea, and we're going to read Serpent, or no, I keep calling it Serpent of the Wings of Night. The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which I know there's technically a novella between these two books, but I'm just gonna skip it. I'm not a big novella girl. I feel like if you make me read a novella between books, there's like a 50% odds I'm not gonna pick it up. Sometimes I regret that. I'm not gonna pretend like this is the correct move. I'm curious if anyone else does that. We'll just see what happens. I'm hoping there'll be like a little bit of a recap. Who knows? We're gonna find out together. Alrighty folks, we have a quick 40 pages read of The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and it's a dual POV. So if I haven't given y'all a little synopsis of this series, this is a romantasy-leaning fantasy series by Carissa Broadbent. It is fun and steamy with an angsty romance kind of at the center, but it does have a pretty intriguing fantasy plot line like alongside it, which I feel like often in a more romantasy-leaning series, the actual plot is kind of more of a backdrop, but not necessarily the important part. So I do appreciate the balance, and I feel like because of it, it makes these books like very fast-paced and very addicting. So this is a high fantasy story, but it centers vampires, which I think is really cool. Typically, I feel like we find vampires more in an urban or contemporary fantasy setting. So to see them in like its own fantasy landscape is pretty neat. There's basically like a kingdom of vampires. Our main character, Aurea, is the daughter, human daughter of the vampire king, and she's been raised her whole life to trust no one except her father, Vincent, basically trained to protect herself, and she's also been preparing for these set of trials her entire life. The winner of these trials gets a wish from the vampire queen. And in book one, the trials basically occur. That's where we meet our other main character, Ryan, I'm not really sure how to say his name. He is a vampire from a competing clan, and they become unlikely allies, and there's lots of angst. Will they, won't they? Again, the first one was pretty entertaining. I liked the trial element. There was pretty good combat, built up the world pretty well, and obviously the relationship growth between our two main characters was interesting. The ending of the first one was very explosive, like plot twist, and just I wasn't sure how the next book was going to unfold, which made me really want to pick it up. And I was so curious, very curious, because again, it ended with quite the bang. So going into book two, first 40 pages read super fast, which happy to report. I honestly feel like the writing feels a little more tight in the second one, or maybe I'm just used to the style, but just the like POV writing just feels a little more, I don't know, I just feel like it's perhaps like a little better. It appears that this might be a dual POV. The first one was just predominantly from Aurea's point of view, but now we got 2 points of views in this, which adds a little bit of flair, and I also think ultimately helps with character development and also allowing you to like all the characters, but that's to be determined. I have this bad trait where I have a love-hate relationship with pretty much every character in a romantasy story. Like, I love them, but I also find them insufferably annoying. So far, I don't find either of these characters too annoying. So that is good. The political situation that both of our characters find themselves in is rather fascinating and rife for dramatic situations between both of them. So I'm curious to see how this is going to unfurl. I'm very unsure, which is great because normally you kind of have an idea, and I really could say I don't know where this is going. It could go very expected, and even if it did, I still have a good time, but there's still plenty of space for curveballs in here, so we're gonna find out. But that also means I've read about 350 pages so far for this vlog. I am gonna go back to the Wraith King, don't worry, but I just wanted to read a little bit of this tonight. I thought that would be fun. So anyway, I'm gonna go change to pajamas. Clay just finished up work, so we're gonna watch some TV, get some food. I think we're gonna get Taco Bell and then hang out. And then obviously I'm gonna do a lot more reading too. Starting off tonight, we're watching an episode of Jury Duty, which we're really enjoying, but also watching slow. I feel like we're savoring it, you know? Kind of, we're kind of back and forth on the
episode show.
We're kind of on back and forth on the ethics of the show.
That's fair.
But anyway, time to enjoy. Got the goods. I think it's a bit of reality TV time, and then we're gonna start Diablo. Clay and I are playing Diablo 4 together. Having a little bonding time, though I'm not gonna lie, this game is a little scary. Hi friends, the rain sounds are on, but I am in bed and going to read more of my ebook. Clay and I played some Diablo 4 tonight. Oh, it's so much fun. I played so much of the last Diablo release. It's just such a fun couch co-op dungeon crawler game. And I'm so happy the new one has come out, and it's like perfect timing for the summer. I just feel like we're gonna clock in a lot of hours, but I do have to be careful because I get spooked easily. And like, I've never gotten so scared with a Diablo game because like the animation, you know, is good, but it hasn't been like amazing. But the new game has animation that literally looks lifelike in some cutscenes. So I don't know, it's getting closer and closer to like a real life horror movie. The game is fun, but now it's time to read about vampires. No more demons, we're pivoting to vampires. Good morning, everyone. Millie had a little vet appointment this week. She loves going to the vet because they apply her with lots of treats. Isn't that right, Matilda? She's like, don't look at me. You made me get shots. But I'm just gonna have another cup of coffee. I am well over the 100-page mark of Ashes in the Star-Cursed King, which is fantastic. I want to get a really good chunk of the way through this book, finish my other book, and also finish my audiobook as well. Because the audiobook for the sequel to the Psalm of a Wild Build is so short, and I have started it. So I really just need like an hour and a half to myself, and I can get that done. So that's my grand plans for today. Just try to get a lot of reading in, knock out 3 out of the 5 books on my to be read pile. So let's see if we can do it. Hi, so I am 150 pages in The Ashes in the Star-Cursed King, and I think I'm liking this book even more than the first one, which I feel like is a surprise, not because I was expecting to like this one less, but just in general when it comes to romantasy or even like multi-book series that center romance. I generally like the first one most because of the tension. The tension is always my favorite part of a romance buildup. Not to say that there wouldn't be tension going into this book, and that's actually why I like it so much, is because I feel like the author has been able to maintain that tension, that delicious tension through both books so far, which makes it really interesting. And on top of that, I actually feel like the political plot is a little tighter, which I'm also enjoying. The first book was really trial oriented, so there was a lot of action, a lot of training, a lot of combat, which was also very entertaining. But the second book, it's much more like politically oriented. I feel like we get a lot more insight in the world, into moving alliances, and in general, just like kingdom maintenance, which is, from a fantasy point of view, an element of fantasy writing that I really like. So this is kind of personal preference. Both are good, but I just feel like something about the writing or even just the plotting feels like a little stronger in this book. But again, both books are really entertaining. On top of that, I just have this toxic trait. Like, I feel like I'm deluding myself on something, and that is the possibility of a love triangle. My toxic trait is I love love triangles in books like this, and I root for them at all cost. Like, if I even get a whiff, even a slight possibility of a love triangle, I'm like, oh, tell me more. And I'm rooting for them, even if I don't even like them more. I just love the disruption that a love triangle brings to a plot, to a romance plot. And I find them so entertaining. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I just love chaos, I guess, romantic chaos. And I always love a love triangle. I don't even know if this has a love triangle, but I'm deluding myself that there's a possibility that it could appear. I really don't think it's, I'm unsure, because I think this is only a duology. And I'm really grasping at straws at this point in time, but who knows? Who knows? But I'm gonna read, I'm trying to get to page 200 this morning, which I'm reading this book so fast. That's one reason why I wanted to pick this book up too. Where I have to read Witch King really carefully, which again, I'm loving that book. This book, I feel like I'm just like flying through. I'm like la-di-da-di-da-di-da, because they're just, there's a lot of world building, like intricate world building that could just like happen in a sentence in Witch King that I have to like process and use my brain for. This book, I'm just like, kiss, kiss already. But not to say there isn't like good world building in this, but just like, you know what I'm trying to say. It's a little less hard to follow, I suppose. But anywho, I'm gonna get to page 200, then I need to get dressed and ready for the day, unfortunately. But we're making good progress, and I just wanted to give y'all an update. Alrighty, I'm taking a field trip to run some errands, but I'm also dressed. Hello. But I stole Clay's headphones. Well, I'm borrowing Clay's headphones so I can sneakily listen to my audiobook whilst I'm doing my boring tasks for the day. So that's the plan. So let's head out. I'm also gonna obviously play my audiobook in the car too. So y'all, it is so hot outside. But good news, I listened to an hour and a half of my audiobook, and I only have an hour left. I keep forgetting what it's called. The title is just like not sticking in my brain, but I'm loving the sequel even more than the first one. The first one is much more about Dex and Moscap like meeting each other, going on a journey together, but it's like a very isolated journey. Now though, community-oriented discussion, and Moscap is so endearingly wholesome. I mean, they both are, they're both so kind. But watching Moscap encounter all of these new things, he's so exciting, and his excitement about life is like contagious, and I'm just like so in love with it, and I don't want this to end. And I'm also just loving the audiobook. Just the narrator's ability to capture their voices is just exceptional, and it's just so charming. Like time flew by listening to this. So again, I have an hour left. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to finish it today. It reads so quickly, and I'm just so charmed by it. Like every situation, every interaction, also just the futurescape that Becky Chambers has created, this like post-capitalist society oriented on community and art and just like supporting each other, is beautiful. And I'm just having a great time, even though I'm out in the 100-degree heat running errands, which I know I didn't vlog because they were very boring errands of a, you know, like I was going to the doctor, so I don't think I can vlog a doctor's office. But shout out to my audiobook because it made today so fun. But now I'm headed back home. Lunch is served. Go hang out with Millie and enjoy. The great thing about reading an ebook is I don't have to stress about accidentally getting chocolate on the pages while I'm reading. So anyway, let's do a little reading sprint. Great news. I've read another 100 pages. This book reads so fast. I've read like 200 pages today. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Why am I a Septimus fangirl? Like, guys had like 5 scenes and every time I'm on the edge of my seat. This book is really entertaining. I am really into it. I stand strongly that the sequel is better than the first one. I feel like there's a larger cast of characters. I'm just more interested in the characters and the interactions between them. It's really quite interesting. I'm settling in quite nicely. I've read a good amount of this book and I could read more. I truly could. But I do need to get ready because Clay and I have dinner plans. But what a delight. And I also just love reading on my Kindle, especially since I added this pop socket, which is so cute. Look at it. it's just so easy. I also feel like I read faster. This book is really long, like not really long, but much longer than I thought. I think the first one was like 450 pages, maybe just over 400. I have read 300 pages and I just looked at the percentage read and I'm 50% of the way through. This book is 600 pages long. Luckily, I'm reading it super fast, but I didn't anticipate, like when I picked this book up to read, I was like, oh, this will be a fast read. And it is, but I didn't realize the length was 600 pages, which makes it a little less fast, you know what I mean? But anyway, so far for this vlog, I've read almost 700 pages, which I think is pretty good. I'm gonna read a bit more of this. I'm obviously gonna finish The Witch King tonight, but now I'm gonna go put some makeup on and get dressed, and Clay and I have dinner plans, and I'll take y'all along. Dressed and ready for dinner. It is maybe about to start absolutely pouring down rain, like terrible thunderstorm, or it might miss us, so you know, we're just gonna risk it for the biscuit. We're just gonna see what happens. Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome to the end of the vlog. A few days later, to be honest, it's been a little bit of a delay wrapping this vlog up. The weekend happened. We also lost power almost immediately when we got back from our date that I kind of ended this vlog with, which was kind of funny. But I'm back. I've also fallen down a bit of a Bridgerton rabbit hole, which I'll feature more in my next vlog. But nevertheless, I'm really excited to wrap up everything I was able to read for this vlog because I've read about 800 pages, which is great. So first and foremost, I did read the entirety of Witch King by Martha Wells. I really enjoyed this book. I am almost certain it's a standalone, and the amount of plot and development that the author was able to fit in about 400 pages I thought was pretty impressive. I loved the characters, the found family. I found the plot to be rather riveting. I wouldn't say it's perfect. Some of the elements of the plot felt not necessarily always totally clear, but I felt the world and kind of the arc that the author created to be one that was really, really interesting. And especially she rooted this with some fantastic characters you will love. Very original, both in its structure and the plot line. I really enjoyed it. So I'm really happy I picked that up and that it ended up living up to the hype for the most part. I also read 300 pages of Ashes in the Star-Cursed King, which is book 2, To Serpent and the Wing of Night. This book is so long. I'm liking this book. I'm reading this book more quickly, I even think, than the first one. I'm also enjoying it more than the first one. I feel like it's more political, and I just think the writing is a little stronger in this second installment. I also feel like there are more characters getting a little more screen time, which I appreciate. I have since found out this is going to be a 6-book series, but 3 different duologies, which I think is really, really smart because it allows the author to kind of explore politics from different angles, but also give the spotlight to other characters. I sometimes find with longer fantasy romantasy series, when it continually follows the same couple, I personally get really bored because after there's like not a lot of angst or tension, I'm just like no longer interested in them. So getting other books with other main characters really appeals to me, especially because I'm a Septimus apologist. I don't know what it is. I was craving for a love triangle. I like his character. I'm really curious about the House of Blood. But in general, I feel like this is a really fun romantasy style series. Pretty decent plot. I mean, it's by no means mind-blowing, but in terms of it being a background to really angsty characters, really fun characters you root for, I think it was rather successful. And lastly, I listened to A Prayer for the Crowned Shy by Becky Chambers, which is a sequel to A Psalm for the Wild Built. And I have to say, I think I liked the second book even more than the first one. They're both wonderful stories, and I feel like the second book was like the perfect extension to this delightful tale and journey of Mosscap and Dex. The world was fleshed out a bit more, kind of getting a larger understanding of how this new society works was so cool, and obviously we see and experience that through like the joy and innocence of Mosscap, who's finding out everything alongside us. The landscape that Becky Chambers is able to create, not only incorporating nature, but this future-looking society where things were bad, but then they turned out all right, is also just something that is so unbelievably comforting. I love the characters. I love how they interact. I love the community that is built within this story. And I love just seeing how the characters like continue to carry on their journey, pursue their goals, pursue their dreams together and separately. I hope there is more in this world. It's just so good. I also listened to this via audio, which I would highly, highly, highly recommend. The narrator was fantastic, and I really felt like brought this story to life even further. But yeah, I read quite a bit. Again, 800 pages, I want to say. I'm rather pleased with, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye.